Welcome back to the Gray Escape. Today, we're removing the bus seats. Let's do it. Most of the bus seats were bolted down to these tracks in the floor and some tracks on the walls. As you can see, I'm just using a ratchet to remove them one by one. Okay, so these are actually attached underneath with some nuts. These two are located up under the fans for the rear AC unit, so it's really hard to reach this one. But I'm going to try to set this up here so that I can go underneath and turn with this. So I'm just trying to figure out a place to secure this so it's not going to move, which, if this is going to be spinning this way, so we want to block it on this side here. Here are the AC fans, and here are the two bolts. And here are the other two bolts. This is turning out to be a little bit harder than expected, but the rest of the C's came out super easy, so I guess it is my time to know the struggle. So I listed my bus seats on Facebook Marketplace, and someone who owns a transportation company and runs a couple of these buses needed some chairs. So he came by, and he originally was going to buy all 6 chairs, but since these 2 are damaged, he only bought 4. But I'm really excited to have those 4 chairs out of the way, because now I can start ripping out the flooring, and I probably have room to store those 2 chairs for a little while. And there's also some pretty good usable metal on the backs and bottoms of those chairs. So I may wind up ripping out, I think they have some unistrut underneath them in order to build more under bus storage if I need to, or to secure things in the bus, whatever, you know, metal's always useful. So I'm gonna hang on to that. And I'm almost done taking this seat out, but it was kind of a beast because the bolts are up underneath and behind the fans for the air conditioner. So let me finish that up, and then we'll get this bus cleaned out. So just like the last 2 bolts, I went ahead and put this wrench up here and pinned it against this metal piece so that it can't move. And now I'm going to go under the bus and unscrew these 2. So these 4 bolts are out of this chair. This is one of the chairs that folds up against the wall. Most of the chairs did not do that. I had 4 chairs that did not and 2 chairs that did. So most of the chairs were held on with these type of bolts that go into this track or this track on the floor using these square nuts. They're probably standard size, but I only had a metric that would fit the ones that go in the tracks. So I was using a 17 millimeter to remove the ones that go in the tracks, and they came out pretty easy. These ones that go through the floor, you can use a 19 millimeter, but it is actually 3/4, and I did happen to have a 3/4 inch wrench. So I've been using 3/4 inch wrench to get out the bolts that go through the floor, and a 17 millimeter socket to get these ones out. And these are the last 2 bolts in the last seat in the bus. So I'm pretty excited, guys. All right, guys, so I just wanted to show you how these work in case you have the same ones in your rig. This is a square nut that the bolts go into, which hold the seats, and it has a spring behind it. You can kind of see it here. And if you compress the spring, you can slide this along the track. It has a couple of divots in it, here and here, so that when the spring pushes it up against the front of this unistrut or rail or whatever, it holds it straight instead of twisting. If you compress them, you can push them down along the rail. Let me see if I can get this one out here for you. So see, it's got 2 divots right here with some knurling to grip onto the front of the rail, and a spring on the back, which keeps it pressed up against that front of the rail while you screw down the seat bolt. Pretty nifty. I'm gonna hang on to these. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a development. I have realized that these springs also make it so that you can just turn these and remove them. You don't have to slide them to the end of the rail at all. Even niftier. So see how these 2 corners are square and these 2 corners are rounded? That's so that you can compress the spring, spin this, and pop it right out of the rail where it sits. You can only go counterclockwise with it, which makes sense, so that when you screw the bolts in, it can't spin this way, but it can spin this way if you're removing it. Very cool. So it only took 2 hours to get all the seats out, and I'm gonna hold off on ripping apart the rest of the bus until I paint this shelf back here and finish that out. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time on The Gray Escape.